Hey everybody, one of the first things that I get asked about is where did I get all the little accessory pieces for my landscape for my spooky town? Well, as we all know, this is one of the standard Lemax Spooky Town accessory pieces, just on a very basic base. Some are more elaborate, some have, make it look like grass or whatever, but you get the general idea. Some of these can be expensive. Well, if you want to do a cheap and effective way to make your own accessories to build up your landscape and your scenery, add more character to your spooky town, these are a couple pieces that I made using very simple craft items right here. As you can see, they fit in scale with the actual Lemax pieces. And these are made with very simple craft items. These are miniature pumpkins. You can get these at craft stores, usually around the fall, but you can also order these from various sellers on eBay, on Amazon, and on Etsy. I've got a bunch in here, different colors. I've already got these made, but I'm going to show you how I did these using these miniature pumpkins, Super Sculpey, and acrylic paints. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another grouping of pumpkins like this, and so I'm going to start by making the base. Grabbing some Sculpey here. Don't need a lot. Piece. The Sculpey comes in different sizes, different colors. I just use the regular Super Sculpey, which has kind of like a flesh look to it. What you want to do is warm this stuff up a bit. Makes it more malleable. I usually start off with like a ball shape. Try to get all the little creases and cracks out of it. Once you get it there, I usually flatten it out a bit and then start making just how the bases are on here, no real, whoops. Just a very basic shape, maybe I'll do one that's a bit more elongated instead of rounded. Push it out on the edges here a bit. That'll work. Now to put a little grass texture, okay, like you see on this, don't know how good that's going to pick up. You can see it there, as opposed to this just being a round base, nothing there. Use one of my sculpting tools here. And I'm just going to start dabbing on it to give it some texture, so it's just not so plain looking. Only in the center, not so much around the edges. Make it look like it's thinning grass or whatever. And what this is doing is just basically putting that kind of a texture on it. That. The next thing I'm going to do is you need to cure this. Now you can put this in the oven, but when it's small pieces like this, I use a crafting heat gun, and I use that by blowing it, which I'm going to do here, but I'm going to turn the camera off for that, and I'll let it cool so it'll cure. I found that when you're doing small pieces like this with the Sculpey, using the heat gun is a lot quicker. So let me take a few minutes and get this, and I'll be right back. Okay. While this one was drying, I went ahead and made another one and heated that up, and this one is curing now. This one is cured, ready to go. It's nice and hard now. And Sculpey can be sanded, painted, whatever you want to do with it now. Depending on the project, you can prime it if you want. With this, I'm not. I've got a little bit of tan paint here I'm going to put as the base. And we're just going to go over this with acrylic. Try to get down in those spots. The thinner your paint, the easier it'll be to get down into those little holes. And even if you don't get it 100%, that's fine, because the majority of this base is going to be covered up anyway. I did this basically to give more detail to it so it wasn't plain. It's the little details here. Okay. And there's that. Got all the paint down in there. Now we'll take a few minutes to let this dry, and I'll be back to dry brush some green across there. Okay, that's dried. That's what I love about acrylic paints. It's fast drying. What I'm going to do now, get my brush a little wet here. I'm going to use this green and just get a little bit here on my brush. Get the excess off and lightly start going over it. And you can get a little sloppy with this because you want to start blending it around. I don't want a real strong green presence on this. I want some of them details to shine through. And there you go. Right there. Kind of has that thinning grass look to it, kind of that dying grass color, which is what I did with this. You can't really see. There you go. And once that green is dried, I usually use a artist varnish. This is a matte finish to seal everything up. If I want it to be real dull, I love this. I don't use Tester products very much. I have no need for them, but they have a dull coat that's perfect for dulling up, and it works great with acrylic paints. So let this dry. I'll put the matte finish on it, and then I'll be back to add the pumpkins. Okay. This is done, dried, ready to go, ready to have whatever added to it. I went ahead and I used a darker brown on this one and also used a dull coat on this. So this is the difference between the matte finish and the dull coat, just to give it a different look. We'll go ahead and do this one, and what I'm going to do now is get my little cup of pumpkins and do this. Is going to be part of my pumpkin patch, so grab some pumpkins out of here. There it is. Let's Got to start with a traditional pumpkin. Just get your hot glue. Add some to the bottom here. And place it on the base. You can add as few as you like. I'm going to try putting 3 on here, as this is going to be part of a pumpkin patch. Right there. Gotta love them strings. There. And we'll add one more small one. This one, if I can get it out. Put that one right there. Right there in front. And there you go. Again, just like acrylic paint, hot glue, as you all know, dries very fast. And there it is. A simple Spooky Town accessory. So you can buy packs of pumpkins, and they're kind of expensive, but if you get a whole bag of these and some Sculpey, you can make a bunch of these on the cheap. Now what I'm going to do with this, also with those pumpkins, they're very easy to draw on with just a little Sharpie. Make one into a jack-o'-lantern. So real quick while I got this going, this is the reason why I made this other base. Add some hot glue to the bottom here. I put a generous amount on there. Add the pumpkin. And just for an added accessory, I've got these little skulls that I have scattered throughout my Spooky Town cemetery. I'm going to add that just as a little accessory piece right beside him. Put a little bit of that on the bottom. And we'll put him right there. And there you go. There's that little accessory piece. It can go beside one of the Spooky Town houses, or along the roadside, wherever you want to display it. It's on there. It's not going to fall off. Again, this is nothing, not doing anything special here. Just very simple projects, but maybe it's something you didn't think of. But there you go. Your homemade Spooky Town accessories for pumpkins or whatever. My next installment's going to be making the trees that I make for the display. So until then, thanks for watching.